Happy International Women's Day. So excited to be here with the one and only Briana Scurry. Thank you all for joining us. Yes, you can keep your videos off, your cameras off, your mics, you can stay muted for now. And then if you want to ask questions, we will be able to do that. Give everybody another minute. Just make sure everybody's in. All right. So I think a lot of you know me, but I'm Jenna George, president of Goodman Speakers. And today is a very special Goodman Speakers webinar with Briana Scurry for International Women's Day. So Bri is a two-time Olympic gold medalist and world champion soccer player. She's the first female goalkeeper and first Black female to be inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Very cool. She's currently an assistant coach for the Washington Spirit and an investor in the team. And she will soon be seen in the Netflix film Girls of Summer about the 1999 women's national soccer team. But today she's here with us. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to show a clip and then we're going to get right into it. Okay, let's see here. Oops.
Woo!
Incredible. If that doesn't get your Monday morning going, I don't know what does, or Monday afternoon, wherever you might be. All right, Bri,
Hi.
walk us through it.
First of all, Jenna, thank you so much for having me on. Hello, everybody. Happy International Women's Day. I am so thrilled to be on. I have to say, you know, that clip, that game, you know, we 22 years in July since that game, and every time I see that clip, I get even though you know it's gonna happen, it's still like so exciting. You know, I mean, 90,000 people, the Rose Bowl was 107 degrees on the field that day. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy, but I mean, it was such an amazing event, and it's so cool to know that we were able to not only win a game of soccer, but we were also able to really transform the way the world saw women, the way the world saw strength, the way the world saw, you know, ability and skill, and what beauty really was. You know, I mean, up until that point, women's athletics hadn't been nearly as, you know, well known or popular, especially soccer. And from that one World Cup event, that game basically lit the fire for not only all the young girls in the United States that saw it, and several of them now play on the women's national team themselves because they were inspired by what they saw, but it really did light a fire for other countries. And now, we have multiple women's soccer leagues all over the world, all the major countries, that play soccer, Brazil, all of Europe, essentially South America, so many of them now have women's programs where they've really poured money into those national governing bodies for soccer and FIFA in those countries for women. And it's really, I think, something that over the course of 22 years is really fast. So for me, seeing those clips has just been so amazing. And my journey through soccer, I've been so grateful and so appreciative to be able to experience it, to truly, be one with, 20 other women on that particular team to achieve something together. And I mean, if you look at it, it's a very small group of people, a small group of women who had similar mindsets, who, bonded together to achieve something amazing at the highest level. And so I'm very grateful for that experience and all the journey to that point, and everything in my life since then. I've been able to really truly look upon and build on. And now that I'm, on the other end of things, I played for 14 years on the national team, played several seasons in the club level, and now I am an investor with the Washington Spirit. My wife Krissa and I are investors, and now that's truly come full circle for me. And so I'm really excited to share that journey with her and all the other investors, and to continue to grow women's soccer and to grow the strength of women in this country and across the world, really. And so I've been so blessed to be able to use my experience and my journey, the lessons I've learned, the falls, the rises, the up and down of life. And I find that sport has really taught me, especially team sport, taught me such amazing lessons. And over the last 20 years, I've been able to realize that through speaking, through doing keynotes and panels and that kind of stuff with different corporations and organizations and entities all over the world, I can apply all these things that I've learned to just about anything. And I think that's really been something for me that is incredible. And so, I've given keynotes to Fortune 500 companies, companies in different areas of industry. I have spoken to doctors groups. I've spoken to veterans, people who have suffered from TBIs, which is traumatic brain injury, which is how my career ended. Speaking to caregivers, all kinds of folks in all walks of life, and have been able to really share with them the ways that I've been able to learn and grow, and then I can help them through, telling them my story, to talking with them in Q&A on how they can themselves be inspired and improve their lives. And it's interesting because it really doesn't have to be about soccer, because in truth, it's not. It's not about soccer at all. It's really more about the journey that we all grow through, whether we are growing through soccer or being a doctor, or you're a computer programmer, whether you're running a nonprofit, just trying to help the local kids in your neighborhood, potentially stay out of trouble and to become whatever it is that they have in their heart to be. The lessons are all the same. And there are things that I've learned, and I feel like the speaking part of what I do, the journey to bring people knowledge and understanding and appreciation for overcoming obstacles, for leadership, for resilience, and all these different things, diversity that I represent, and sharing that with people through my speeches and my keynotes has really been one of the biggest gratifying things I've been able to do in my life. And so I'm really grateful for that opportunity, and to speak to Jenna and to all of you today. And hopefully we can connect and continue to share, and I can continue to grow, and all of you can also become part of the next chapter of my life, and people who I consider comrades on my journey. So thank you for having me, Jenna.
I'm so happy to have you. I think that's incredible that, you've been able to make such a huge impact on the field, and now you're able to continue and do that off the field. And I feel privileged to be, on that journey with you.
Thank you.
So before we start Q&A, I wanted to just do a little rapid fire question and answer. So I'm gonna, it might get some people's juices flowing about some good questions to ask. Maybe someone's gonna piggyback on something I ask you. Some of them are just for fun. So I just curious we're gonna get to know a little bit more about you, and then we'll open up for Q&A. Okay, what is your favorite song to get you pumped up? And it could be now, or it could have been like on that 1999 game, 96 Olympics. You tell us, like, what do you think of when I say, what song gets you pumped up? Like, what comes to mind?
Well, recently it was a song by The Weeknd. And
The Weeknd.
Back in the day, it was Whitney Houston's, one of her classics, It's Not Right, But It's Okay.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So if you can imagine going back and listening to that video, or watching that, that beat in that song is just consistently throughout that song, and the message as well.
Love it.
Is very inspiring, and it really gets you focused, and it got me focused, and I was ready to go.
I love that. I love that. Your face in that video too. I mean, there is just nothing better than that. That is game face like I've never seen in my entire life. So,
yeah, it was pretty intense, I have to admit.
Very intense. And now I'm going to picture it with Whitney Houston behind it.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite stadium?
Ooh, so the old RFK Stadium, which is, here in DC, I live in Alexandria, so it's about 8 miles from here. Unfortunately, they no longer play anything there because I think they're going to tear it down, but played at least 6 or 7 games there in my career and have not lost a single one. So RFK Stadium is my favorite.
Good reason to like it. Yeah, I like that.
Exactly.
What woman has impacted you the most?
Ooh. I would say 2. Can I give 2?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
One is my mom, who unfortunately passed away in 2015, but she raised me, and she was the one, along with my dad, who really nurtured that dream of being an Olympian that I had when I was 8 years old, when I was watching the 1980 Lake Placid ice hockey team on TV, and I declared I wanted to be an Olympian, and my mom was someone who really nurtured that seed and helped grow that dream and for it to become a reality. And the other person is my amazing wife, Krissa, who found me in a place that I really needed someone to believe in me. And she did that. And I'm so grateful that she came into my life and is my wife to this day.
Oh, that's amazing. Some amazing women. Okay. What does Bri Scurry eat on game day? Just like make us like really hate you and just tell us everything you eat leading up to like burning all those calories in a game.
Okay, let me answer that 2 ways. So when I played on national team and club ball, it was your basic, chicken and pasta kind of meal that we had 4 hours before the game. And so that would be great for energy. And that was with my national team and professional career. But when I used to play basketball in high school, which is actually my favorite sport, I used to eat a quarter pounder with cheese and fries from McDonald's right before the game. I think my metabolism was a little bit better back when I was in my teens, but I think my diet with national team and club was probably a little bit more healthy.
Yeah, yep. Okay, who is your funniest teammate?
Oh.
They looked like they were all pretty fun. So I'm curious who was making everybody laugh.
Julie Foudy was the biggest crack up, someone who always had a joke and something funny to say, but I have to say that Mia Hamm, even though she seems incredibly serious all the time and is a little bit reserved, she's got a great sense of humor. She's got that dry humor, where she comes out of nowhere with these cheeky things that she says and just makes everybody crack up.
I love it. Let's see, is there an athlete that has inspired you or that you looked up to? because you know that there was probably a million little girls looking up to you and your whole that whole 1999 team. So who was or is your kind of icon?
Right. So that answer is Cheryl Miller. I don't know if you remember her. She played basketball for USC and also for the national team. And because there wasn't a whole lot of soccer, athletes that I looked up to at the time when I was younger, Cheryl Miller was my number one hero, because I figured I would play basketball at the higher levels, but the universe and soccer had other plans. So I would say Cheryl Miller for sure.
Okay. What's your guilty pleasure?
Ooh, ice cream. I like mint chocolate chip.
Yeah.
I tend to eat it, on the down low on occasion. So
Yep.
And try to keep it to a minimum if I can. But
That's a good one
for sure.
What's the best thing to do in DC?
Oh, well, I have to say, if you can manage the time, especially when things start to open up here, monument tour, especially in the evening. There's a nighttime monuments tour that you can do, and
I
that
just heard about that.
It's really lovely, and everything is lit up just right, and it's a fantastic way to see the city.
Oh, so nice. We have a family trip planned, so that was just
good.
strictly for personal reasons. I was asking you that one.
Understood.
Okay. What show are you binging, if you are? Or have you, what's been your biggest binge worthy, or what are you watching now?
Now, okay, so my favorite binge of all time, I have to say, was House of Cards.
Good one.
On Netflix. Unfortunately, that is, ended. And so now I would say, Chris and I love binging on the weekends. We just recently watched Gentleman Jack not too long ago. It's in between seasons now. And we were watching, what were we watching this weekend? What was it called? We were watching a series, The Con.
Okay.
With Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know if you've seen that. Seen it. We like those true life mystery type things.
Okay.
It was the Fire Festival was the last one we watched from the con.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. As a coach, what's something you say a lot to your team?
Just stick with the fundamentals. It's something I say a lot, because I think a lot of times players try to complicate the game, in particular goalkeeping. Just remember the fundamentals, especially if you're feeling like you're not playing your best. If you can build on that, then you can usually get yourself either out of a slump or get yourself to the next level.
That sounds good. I think we can all thank you for those words of wisdom today.
Yeah,
we all needed that. What was your proudest moment to date?
My proudest moment to date, there's two.
Okay.
I have these two-piece answers. So I don't know if you can see this.
You sure can.
That is the
Beauty.
1996 Olympic gold medal for women's soccer, the first ever. So that's my first proudest accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other one is this one, and this is the Olympic gold medal from 2004. And this one is important and special to me for two reasons. One was this particular Olympic team, the media did not expect us to be able to do well in that Olympic Games, because the team that had won the 99 World Cup was the same team. For women's soccer, Olympic teams and national teams are the same. And so this team wasn't seen by a lot of people as the favorite. And also my father passed away 2 months before the final. And I played my heart out that Olympic Games. And so those are the two most amazing moments of my life. The first ever gold medal in men's soccer, which I've wanted since I was 8. And then the second one that I won after my dad passed away, and I really feel like his presence was there with me.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay. You have lots going on between now and 2022. I know you are doing so much.
Yes.
Book and sports broadcasting and
Yes.
movies, just a couple of them. Lots
Yes.
going on. So tell me what you're most excited about.
Woo! Well, so I am really excited about the movie High Expectations. This is a small indie film which we filmed last year in Atlanta. I was there for 3 weeks, and I am playing the first and only professional women's coach for a men's soccer team. So essentially, I'm kind of playing myself, but not really. So that was the first movie that I've done, and actually the second movie I've done. I was in Air Bud, also World Pup. If any of you are interested in seeing my debut movie.
God, my kids watch those Air Bud movies all the time. I'm gonna have to look for you now.
Let me know what you think about my acting and goal. But I'm really excited about High Expectations. I was there for 3 weeks. I had a fantastic time. It was so much fun just to see what a production was like at length. And I'm really excited about that. And just to see my performance, everyone at the production says I did a great job. And I really appreciate that experience because I never thought I'd do another movie. And so that was just a whole lot of fun to be able to be on that set and to do that and to have that kind of a role. I think that movie can do incredibly well, and hopefully it'll, break down some more bridges.
I'm really excited for Girls of Summer, which is about the
Yes.
99 team.
Yes.
Can you tell me, is that like a documentary, or did you have to do anything for that? Or is that basically a series of clips and interviews and things?
So the Girls of Summer is a Netflix film that will actually be similar to Miracle. If you've seen the movie Miracle, where all the actors are recreating the drama of the 1980 Lake Placid ice hockey team. So our movie, Girls of Summer, is essentially going to be done by actresses, and they're currently still writing the screenplay. And so we will all be on the big screen, hopefully being played by, amazing actresses right now, Jessica Chastain, who knows who's going to play me, of course,
Right.
or any of my other teammates, but that's going to be a full movie, a full-length movie from Netflix. And so they've done some amazing work, and it's going to be a huge production for Netflix in 2022 probably.
Awesome. Okay. I was thinking it was like a docuseries or a documentary film. So I'm excited that it's going to be like a movie. Like
It's a drama.
Totally
Yes.
going through this journey. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Carrie has a question.
Yes.
And then I'm going to let other people. You guys can type them in the chat and I'll ask, or you can turn on your camera and ask. But I know the answer to this, but this is something we haven't covered. You just mentioned it briefly. So she's asking, how did her career end? Did she say brain injury? How did she take that news and handle that transition from playing to doing what was next? Big question.
Yes, it is a huge question. Actually, yes, my career ended. I was playing in a league game against the Philadelphia team in Philly. I was coming out for a low ball to my left-hand side, and the opposing attacking player came in from my right and trying to nip in front of it with her toe and trying to get her toe on the ball. Unfortunately, she crashed into the side of my head with her knee. And that was late April 2010, and that was the last game I played. I continued to play for a few more minutes, and then halftime came, and my trainer came out to try and meet with me and to help me get off the pitch, and she asked me if I was okay, and right then I knew I wasn't. And so unfortunately, after many baseline tests and failing them, and going on and trying to do concussion protocol over the course of weeks and months and being misdiagnosed and all these different things, I ended up being season ending initially and then career ending after that, and slipped into a very, very deep, dark hole for the next 3 years. I was really struggling with my head injury, and then finally was able to get some relief after, essentially being suicidal for a little while there towards the end, and finally got a procedure, an experimental procedure done by Dr. Crutchfield and Dr. Duchik over at Georgetown in late 2013. That really changed my life finally. And also during that time is when I met my wife, Krissa. So it's been an absolutely crazy journey. And now I'm a concussion advocate because of that experience dealing with, all the misdiagnosis and people telling me I look fine. And there's so much in depth there with overcoming that obstacle. And now I see it as something that, has really actually helped me really relate to folks who suffered brain injuries, whether that's through, domestic violence or workplace accidents or accidents in a car or whatever, or in sports. Been able to really be an advocate. I've testified before Congress, on behalf of TBI sufferers. I've spoken to doctors groups. I've done so many different things with different organizations and partnering with different groups throughout the country. Just trying to give a more open view and feeling about not only the issues with concussion in terms of physical impediments, but also the emotional damage that a concussion can do, not only to the individual, but also the caregivers. And so that's something I also speak about quite often, is my concussion journey back to myself, because I was a long way from who you saw in that video for several years.
Thank you for sharing all of that, because I know you are an incredible advocate for brain injury, for concussions in sports and any type of trauma, as well as mental health and, overcoming that. And that's such an important issue right now. So I appreciate you sharing that and being an advocate and being a voice so that people know, people like you go through that as well. I mean, you look at that video and just think there's just what a high. No way you could ever be down on, about it for any reason or be suicidal. So it's incredible, that you share that.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have a question for Bri? If you want to, like I said, you can post it in the chat, or you can just unshare your or share your video, unhide your video, and then I can call on people. Yay, Sarah Carson.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, hi, Brianna. I actually am excited because you're going to be presenting to our corporation on March 22nd, for part of our diversity inclusion group at Emergent Holdings. I know you've been working with some of our other team members, but I was super excited that I was going to be able to at least catch this before we meet you live later this month. But you have such a story, and I'm so privileged and honored that you're going to be part of this journey and this story for us at our workplace. So I just wanted to say hi and thank you so much for sharing your story. We're super excited. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Great to meet you.
Thanks,
yes,
Sarah.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, any other brave souls? You guys want to show your face? Did you do your hair today? I have a question while people are deciding if they would like to chat me something or ask you live. But so the goalkeeper, you guys stress me out big time, because whenever you watch a game, like I remember that 99 game specifically, because I hate when games get down to penalty kicks, because I feel like it's just, if you lose, it's like on the goalie. If they win, it's on the kicker. I'm like, that's just not right. I'm like singing Whitney Houston now in my, it's not right, but it's okay. Right, Bri? So tell me, was there ever I would imagine in 2010 when you collided, but I'm sure you've had some other crazy collisions or, I don't know, like what was your most, it might not have been scary because you were going to collide with somebody, but what was like the scariest moment in the goal?
I would have to say, for the most part, other than that career-ending hit, I really was very lucky, and also like just had this ability to really get out of the way.
Okay.
I could come in through a crowd, get the ball, and get out of there. And I really prided myself on that. And up until that point, my career had been more or less pretty injury free compared to a lot of other people who play goalkeeper, whether it's men or women. I mean, I was able to truly come into a crowd, get the ball in a cross or a shot, and then get out of the way. And usually it was able to avoid a lot of the collisions with other players. But there was one time in particular when I went up for a cross right on the goal line, and instead of hitting the ball, the attacking player, I think we were playing Denmark, she crashed into me, like literally crashed into me with her arm up and drove me into the goal. And I still had the ball in my hand, and I had the presence of mind enough to drop the ball, because if I bring that ball into the goal, that's a goal.
Wow.
So I dropped it right on the line, and fortunately one of my teammates came in and just cleared it out. So other than that, and that was, I mean, we went all the way into the net. I mean, that was a good 3 or 4 yards that she crashed into me. And so other than that, I came out of that pretty unscathed, fortunately.
Yeah.
But I think my one head injury collision made up for all the other times that I was fortunate enough to get out of the way.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
What are you telling yourself? Especially, I mean, I feel like during play, it's probably really fast, but with the penalty kicks, when you're just staring down that kicker, I mean, obviously you plan for this, prepare for this. I mean, that was your job. These are the moments you trained for.
Right.
But what are you telling yourself in those moments, or what are you thinking and feeling, and how do you face that? Because that to me is like, that's just game on. It's you versus them. So what are you telling yourself in those moments?
Yes, I mean, for me, I was very good at the mental aspect of the game, especially at being goalkeeper. And so we had trained on that for many years. And my only thought in my mind was to save one. So of the 5 kicks, I knew I had to save one. And the interesting thing about that one particular kicker is my normal method of operation for dealing with penalty kicks is usually I don't look at the kickers at all until I'm standing on that line and then approaching them and essentially paying attention to their lineup and their approach, because there's certain cues that you read that can give you tips on where they're going to kick it. And on that particular kicker, as I was walking into the goal, something, out of nowhere told me to look. I heard this little voice in my head that said, look. And I looked at her and I knew that that was the one I was going to save. So as I was walking into the goal, I knew that that was it. And I don't know if a lot of players call that the zone, or just having some kind of sensation that makes you know that you're going to be in the exact right place at the exact right time. But on that particular kick and that particular player, number 13 for China, I knew that that was the one I was going to save before I saved it. And so, I mean, I had complete and utter focus to the point where I didn't even notice the 90,000 people, on the edge of their seats, holding their breath
Right.
for her to kick it.
Yeah.
And I made that save. I mean, it was just, I truly feel like I knew exactly where she was going to go with it.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. And then the last question that I have before I let you go is, and I'm looking at you on your Wheaties box, and I think it's so fun. But I just feel so, I'm so grateful for little girls, for us that are on this call with you, for everyone that you ended up playing soccer professionally. So tell me, you talk about your love of basketball. What took you in that direction? There must have been some sort of fate. You said the universe. So tell me what made that switch for you and for your journey.
So for me, my family didn't have a whole lot of money, and so I knew at a very young age that I would have to get a scholarship in order to even go to college, because my family couldn't afford it. And so I realized at a young age that through athletics, I would need to get a full ride or close to it if I could. And so when I was in high school, I played 4 different sports. I played soccer in the fall, basketball in the winter time, and rotated between softball and track in the spring. And I was approached by 70 colleges over the course of those couple of years in high school to entertain going to their school. And I was an All-American goalkeeper in high school and an all-state basketball player in high school. And so I knew that in order to get the best opportunity and the best choice, the best ability to get a full scholarship would be through soccer. And so that's essentially why I chose to play soccer. And the University of Massachusetts, where I ended up going, fortunately was also a top 10 soccer school in the country at the time, and had fantastic education and academics there as well. And so I ended up going the soccer route, more or less essentially because I knew that I needed to get the money in order to be able to go to college at all. And so that's the route I took. And the irony about that is that Jim Rudy was one of the best goalkeeper coaches in the country at the time. And, he helped me get introduced to the national team coach and helped me get on that team and get my foot in the door. And then I guess the rest is history.
Katie, I saw you come on. I know she said UMass, and now you have to talk to her. We have some UMass alum here. We're in Massachusetts, so we love that you went to UMass. I have lots of friends who played soccer in high school and went to camp when you were at UMass, because I think we were just a few years behind you. So very, very cool. Go ahead, Katie.
Yes, same. A lot of friends. I went to the business school at UMass, so I have a lot of love for it. But I did have a question too. I'm on a lot of these calls, and if you could just share, I know you've had a lot of obstacles like involving soccer, but have you had any other obstacles that you faced, with like diversity inclusion is a lot that we're hearing. So is there something outside of soccer that that you've had to overcome, and how did that affect you? And do you share that with future women, and how do you do that?
Yes, that's a fantastic question. The interesting thing about me is I'm a gay African-American female who basically made her way in a predominantly suburban white sport, that is soccer. And so I did have to overcome some, ideas of who should and shouldn't be able to achieve such goals. And so, yes, I overcame a lot of other people maybe doubting me, or other people not thinking I deserved to be there. But the truth is, I always believed I did deserve to be there. My mom and dad believed in me. My coaches believed in me. Once my teammates were gathered and we knew who the team was, they had great belief in me. And so what I found in the course of my career is that I've had a lot of ups and downs, and majority of them not in soccer at all. The majority of them have been life experiences, such as my head injury that did occur on the soccer pitch, but that essentially disconnected me from my entire life. And I wasn't able to learn. I wasn't able to really remember anything. I had a lot of trouble emotionally with anxiety and depression, inability to sleep, and to truly focus on things and remember where things were. And so what I found is my story is a lot more about a young African-American woman who happened to play soccer. And so I'm able to relate everything I've gone through in my life, from losing my dad two months before an Olympic event, to losing my mom, and now I have neither my mom or my dad as my parent, and getting through that kind of loss and understanding what that means. I was the #1 goalkeeper in '99, only to be on the bench and play only 3 games in 2000. So during that time, I speak about, making sure that you keep your eye on the ball. And I've had a roller coaster of a life. you know, to being, you know, almost, you know, homeless and penniless there shortly after my head injury, and somehow coming out of that and finding, you know, not only the strength to go on and dealing with feelings of suicide and not knowing if I wanted to stay and keep on going, to finding the strength to be able to do that and learning new things. I mean, so my story is interesting, and I find that every time I do a keynote speech and I relate to my audience, it doesn't matter who the audience is. It doesn't matter if it's a business audience, if it's an organization, if it's a different sport, if it's a nonprofit, you know, a room full of doctors or psychiatrists or young 13-year-old kids. I think everybody can relate to the fundamental building blocks that help everyone overcome obstacles. I just happen to be able to fine tune mine, you know, through the vehicle of soccer, but I found that my lessons that I've learned apply to everyone, whether you're a new person in a new job trying to fit in to everybody you're working with. I've spoken to companies who just recently had mega mergers and they're trying to figure out how to mesh the two groups of people together, to companies that are trying to get off the ground and ones that have been around for decades. You know, I go into the speech and everybody's wondering, you know, how this is going to work out. And then after I speak to them, because I connect with them where they are and I can relate to just about anyone. And they relate to me, and I'm sincere and I'm genuine and I'm authentic and sharing, you know, not only the great times of my life, but also the times that were really, really difficult and very dark. And I think especially with what everybody has just been through this pandemic, we all have that in common. And there's a lot of great lessons to be learned when you can talk about that with someone in an honest and true and authentic manner.
Definitely agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bri. I mean, you really are amazing. I can speak to what you just said about being able to get right on anyone's level, and as a speaker, you are absolutely so authentic and so genuine, which is really, really important. It's more now than ever, for sure. So thank you for that. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being so open and for sharing your story with us. We cannot wait to hear more from you and see all of the amazing things you have coming. I think I know that we're going to be seeing a lot more of you on our television, and lots of good things coming. Book coming out next year. So excited for you. I'm so excited to get you up on the stage as much as we can, just because I think, you know, there need to be more women like yourself on that stage. So
thank you, Jenna.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for International Women's Day. I feel honored that you decided to take your time and share and be here with us. And we wish you a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, evening. Go do something cool.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jenna.
See ya.
Take care, everyone.
Bye now.
Thanks,
Thank you.
See ya. Bye-bye. Thank you.